I blame them for making it look like that's what they're trying to do.
Right.
It's like you're making it seem like this is a big conspiracy.
Yeah.
So maybe stop doing that. And then like there won't be so much traction for conspiracy theorists to, which I will admit sometimes get pretty nutty. And you're like, yeah, I don't think you can really prove any of that. But I understand why when the government is so corrupt and they lie so much and they screw over average Americans so much, it leads to an environment where conspiracies spread.
I'm trying to think of a conspiracy now that has just proven itself to be too nutty. Like a plausible conspiracy theory. The moon being flat or, being made out of cheese. All right, I remember once upon a time, they said the Great Reset Agenda 2030 was conspiracy theory. Did I post that side by side from the CBC? CBC went from reporting Great Reset conspiracy theory to can the Great Reset really be a way for a more equitable economy going forward? I remember thinking that sounded crazy. And then I remember finding out it was true. I remember back in the day talk about this spike protein and its impact potentially on the heart, thinking that sounds a little weird. No comment. I remember people talking about viral shedding. I was like, okay, well that's a little crazy. And then I see videos of them talking about like mosquitoes potentially being like the delivery systems for jibby jab stuff. I can't really think of a conspiracy theory that would be so outlandish that I would say discredit on its face. But that's not the point that we want to get to with Dave Smith, his most recent appearance on Rogan. It might be one of the best. It is one of the best. It might be the best podcast I've heard in the last quarter. And I love what he says here. Listen to this.
Yeah.
And people start, and then the other thing is that there are like a lot of really legitimate conspiracies that really are conspiracies.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it's pretty clear that there was that. I mean, we have the emails, like we know, like Fauci conspired to kill the lab leak story.
They knew while they were calling people crazy conspiracy theorists for suggesting the Rona might have originated in a lab in Wuhan, China. It was racist to say that. The Lancet Medical Journal put out an op-ed, but like an open letter saying these suggestions are racist and they're hampering the ability of scientists to address this pandemic. That is anti-science. Knowing if the origins of a virus were man-made versus naturally occurring will help you combat a virus. Ignoring it will hamper your ability to do so. So again, accuse your enemies of doing what you're doing, confession through projection, whatever. They're accusing other people of being racist conspiracy theorists who are hampering the global response to the pandemic when that's exactly what they're doing. But they hid it, called it a conspiracy theory, and lo and behold, conspired. More than two people conspiring to cover up the truth, as a result of which hampered the global response, probably hampered people's ability to treat this, and probably cost people's lives. But hell, it's good for politics.
Like they conspired to kill the Hunter Biden story.
Yeah.
I mean, these are conspiracies.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's like my, analogy of like, it's like if I heard Sam Harris said recently on a podcast that he said something, he goes, and he was being critical of you and RFK, I think.
I love what he's going to say about Sam Harris. I don't know if it's in this clip where he says Sam Harris is not dumb. Sam Harris is smart, and that's why all of this is even more scary. The degree to which the brain of a smart person can get broken. It was in this podcast. It was a little later on. Said the interesting theory that it's easier to train a smart dog. Listen to this.
And Brett Weinstein, and he said, he goes, well, these guys are over here talking about how bad the mRNA vaccine is, how bad COVID restrictions are, but I'm trying to sail where I understand that we're losing trust in these institutions, but we also need institutions that we can trust.
I love this. That Smith hits it on the ballpark, hits it on the head here. We need to have faith in institutions. Institutions build faith. They are not based on having faith in them. They build trust. They're not built on trust. And so you need to have faith in institutions does not mean you need to have faith in institutions. It means institutions have to behave in a trustworthy manner that foments, builds trust and faith in the system. Yeah, we need to have faith in the systems. That we don't is the symptom of the problem and not the problem itself. But listen to Dave Smith say it better than me.
And my thing is almost, it's like the analogy of if you're cheating on your wife, right, and your wife catches you cheating on her, and then you go, your response is like, the real problem here is that there's not trust in this marriage, and we need a marriage with trust. And it's like, yeah.
No,
the real problem is that you cheated. Yeah, like, the problem is that you lied.
Yeah.
That's why there's no trust.
Right.
Like, it's not like, I'm fine with the theoretical argument that like we need institutions we can trust. Like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great if during a pandemic there were a bunch of medical experts who could get us accurate information, be honest, and spread that information around. And so
The Lancet wrote 2 diametrically opposing articles. One was it's a conspiracy theory that the virus originated in a lab in Wuhan, China. The other one, 18 months later, it's always been a perfectly plausible theory. The Lancet ran bunk articles, bunk studies. We don't need to have faith or trust in anything. Faith or trust in an institution is the same thing as saying we need to have respect for individuals. You're not allowed committing acts of violence against individuals, but to say that an individual is entitled to respect, it's not. He's not. She's not. People are not entitled to respect. They have to earn it. They have to deserve it. And even then, they're still not necessarily entitled to it. But this is the kicker here. We don't have to have trust in the institutions. They have to act in a way that allows us to trust them. And when they don't deserve the trust. And it's not my fault that I don't trust the liars who I know have been lying to me. Sure.
But the problem isn't that we just don't trust them. The problem is that they're lying, and we caught them red-handed. Right. And then that led to a bunch of people going like, well, how long have they been lying?
Forever.
If they're lying about this, when were they honest? And then the more you look into it, you're like, oh shit, they were always lying. They've been lying for a really long time. And so to turn around and then blame that on the problem here is just that we don't have trust. Like, no, that's actually a solution. That's a step in the right direction if you don't trust these motherfuckers.
Everyone has to appreciate that. Not having trust in someone, I mean, it's an old Reagan, trust but verify. Not having trust in someone is not the problem when it comes to accountability. It's the solution when it comes to accountability. You can't, my father always said this when we were growing up, don't trust anybody with anything more than you can allow them to steal from you. So, you have people doing work on your house let's just bring it back to kids. You have a liquor cabinet. If you can't afford your kids, if you can't let your kids steal from the liquor cabinet, lock it up. If you can trust people with no more than you can allow them to steal from you. And you trust but verify, and not having trust in people and systems. Oh, it's insulting. How dare you not trust me? Bullcrap. Hey, how about this? I like you. I may respect what you have to say, but know that I will never blindly trust you. And if I do not trust you and you purport to take it as an insult, well, that means that you don't like having your homework checked, which is a bad sign. Oh, did someone say locals no stream? Because I'm an idiot. What an idiot. It'll never end. It'll never end. Like, it's going to be one thing or another. I'm sitting there locals. I'm an idiot. You'll get it when we'll get it when I upload this later. Sorry, guys. Yeah, just an idiot. Yeah. One day. No, I keep making the joke. I'm tired. I'm cranky. Locals, add to the RTPM server and save. And I just checked. I checked as we were live, but I only checked Rumble and I didn't check locals. Miss Scoozy, I will make it up to all of you on locals afterwards with a nice exclusive after party stream. Let me refresh and see if we're here now. Are we good on the locals, people? Let me see here. We got Mighty Pez says he didn't make sure it was working here, waiting for him to realize it. Well, I saw it now in the chat, and I try to go and not get interrupted in the intro rant, and then okay. Locals, I'm sorry. By the way, it's a good way to promote locals now. vivabarneslaw.locals.com. For anybody who wants to support the channel, that is where Robert Barnes and I have a wonderful, amazing community. And by the way, those of you who know what 2 members of our community, the heroism that we witnessed at our Chattanooga meet and greet, it took me a while to get around to it. I had to think of the perfect gift. Thank you, everything. It has gone out, and they will be getting it this week. Good afternoon, everybody. It keeps getting crazier. It's impossible to keep up with the state of the world. It seems like a massive race to the bottom. You got the Michigan Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot trial for the three, I think, what is it now, three or maybe four remaining defendants who are accused of aiding and abetting, assisting in terroristic kidnapping plot. They've got that trial going on for, is it 3 weeks? It's several weeks. It started last week. I was looking at a live stream of it yesterday online. Under 100 people watching the live stream of this trial. It doesn't have Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, celebrity status. It doesn't have Kyle Rittenhouse, outrage status. It's also like the third or fourth series of trials in the context of the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping plot. You had your first set of convictions, then you had your acquittal in there somewhere, then you had your retrial, 2 convictions, 2 acquittals. It's amazing. And I've been watching it. I've been trying to catch up on it the last 4 days. We'll talk about that for a bit. At the same time, maybe it's not for lack of interest. Maybe it's just because everybody's spread too thin. You have the DC judge, what's her name, Chutney, setting Trump's election interference indictment in DC, setting it for March 5th, March 4th, March 2024, the day before Super Tuesday. March 24th. The irony is they're calling it the election interference lawsuit because that's exactly what it is. It's an election interference indictment. We got that. We got what's going on in Canada. We've got there's too much. We're going to go over the list in a bit, but you mean the FBI plot? Well, we're gonna get there. I mean, I'm listening to the evidence. They have evidence. They have video. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a bit. I got pounced on by I'll just say the DeSantis supporting individuals on Twitter because I made a wildly optimistic prediction that Trump could see, or that I look, I want to remain an optimist. I want to believe that people are having their eyes opened to the decay of the system. And I never understood why the Jewish community voted so wildly disproportionately for Democrats in the States and liberals in Canada. I never understood it. Drives me a little nuts. Never understood why the black community also voted disproportionately for Democrats and liberals. I made a prediction that I predict 2x to 3x, 2 to 3-fold improvement in the next election. Now, we have been talking about an improvement among the black and Latino working class vote for a while on the channel. So it's not even about the mugshot, which a lot of people want to pretend it's about. It's about a shift in ideology and a shift in waking up to the fact that the hope and change that Obama promised and the build back better that Biden promised has turned into a world of shit for a lot of young people. Now, I said 2x to 3x from what I thought was 8% support in 2020, but I think it might have been 11 or 12% support in 2020, which makes my prediction maybe based on a faulty premise, but I can still get there if we get to like 16 to 24% in the next election. So I got into it with some of the DeSantis supporters back and forth on Twitter. And then Justin Hart said he thinks I'm wildly wrong, respectfully thinks I don't understand how the primary process works for the GOP. I think I have a rough idea. He might be popping on, or he said he's going to pop on 2 o'clock Eastern. So he's going to come on. We're going to talk about it. It'll be fun. But before we get there, so we're good on everywhere. If you want to become part of our wonderful community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Rumble rants, understand that YouTube takes 30% of those things. What am I looking for here? YouTube takes 30% of that. Rumble has these things called Rumble rants, and they take 20%, although for the rest of this year, they take 0%. And we've got one here from Tatone, who says, Trump being indicted to cover up for the real criminal occupying the White House. Joe Biden is a traitor who sold out USA for millions in bribes. I will stop right there, but thank you for the Rumble rant. I agree with the sentiment of that. What they are persecuting Trump for is that of which they are guilty. When you understand, and we'll talk about it a bit when we get into the Trump bullshit indictment and the absolute election interference trial date. Never before has a trial date been scheduled so quickly. We'll get into all of that. Everything they are accusing Trump of is that which Biden and his family, alleged crime family, have done. You know, fornicating with hookers. Trump didn't do it. That's the Steele dossier. But you know who did do it? Biden family members. Quid pro quo. Holding off money, threatening Ukrainian officials. Trump sure as hell didn't do that. You know who did that? Joe Biden. Everything they're accusing Trump of doing is what they have done. These indictments are an indictment on what they're not indicting Biden for, and nothing of what Trump has done. And my goodness, when you see Chris Christie, that unholy swamp beast, spouting the crap that he's spouting. Oh, okay. We'll get into all of that on the Rumble side of things. For now, I just want to talk about one thing out of Canada, which has been driving me up the wazoo. Crazy. I cannot, ghoulish is the only way to describe this. Got that all off my chest. I do my exercises in the morning now. I try to meditate. And you know what the problem is? I try to meditate. I get irritated with the voice of the person giving the guided meditation tour. It's either too pretentious. It's either too casual. The background music drives me crazy. I can feel like sweat dripping off my nose. It bothers me. I'll try to get more Zen in life, but it might not be possible. I might not be wired that way. I am enraged at what's going on in Canada. Enraged. We now have the second person in Canada who is confirmed to have died. And I'm going to say died now, but I actually believe that this is nothing more than a state killing. Sheila Annette Lewis was allowed to die by being denied life-saving medical treatment because she refused to submit, not to vaccines in general, to the jab in particular. Sheila Annette Lewis was on the channel. We were doing our best to raise awareness of her story because most people hadn't heard about it. We were doing our best to raise funds for what she needed to do because she was getting denied the life-saving treatment in Canada, in Alberta, because she was not submitting to the jibby jab. And so she's going to have to go get it in Texas, where it was going to cost like $100,000 for some preliminary tests and $1 million for the procedure. She was on the channel. We talked about her story. When she got placed on the organ donors list in 2019, they told her, you're not up to speed on your vaccines. And she got up to speed on her actual vaccines. She took the actual vaccines, or got up to date because she didn't have her book, because she came from another province, whatever. She took the vaccines that she needed to take in order to get put on the organ donor list. But when it came time for the jab, the COVID jab, because it was new technology, NIH described it as an experimental mRNA jab. Well, they didn't call it the jab. They called it an experimental vaccine. Some people didn't feel comfortable submitting to an experimental vaccine that had no track record of efficacy or safety. Sheila Annette Lewis being one of them. When she refused to submit to that jab, they bumped her from number 2 on the organ donor priority list to a number 0, and then they removed her altogether. And they said, sorry, this is our protocol now in Alberta. I'm going to get to why I blame Trudeau in addition to the province of Alberta, but we'll get there in a second. They made it protocol. She refused to submit to it. They took her off. She then sued the doctors and the hospital for charter violations. Because Canada now is a country in which you can't have access to the news because of government policy and the response from private enterprise. Because Canada is a country where, it used to be public court hearings were the rule and not the exception, and now it seems to be quite the opposite. Because Canada is a hermit kingdom run by an evil tyrant, Justin Trudeau, and his ilk at the provincial level, they had a court publication ban on Sheila Annette Lewis's trial, her constitutional charter challenge. They couldn't name the doctors. They couldn't name the hospital. Let me rephrase. They banned publishing the name of the doctors, the name of the hospitals. And they banned Sheila Annette Lewis from specifying what organ she needed for the transplant, because that would be information that would allow people to decipher, given how unique it was, the hospital and the doctors. And they might face some backlash for letting a Canadian woman die because they decided to deny her life-saving treatment. So they have a publication ban on the charter challenge, and she lost at every step of the way on the charter challenge. Lower court said, no, there's no charter challenge here. We're not getting involved in medical decisions. Court of Appeal said, no, there's no charter challenge here. We're not getting involved in medical decisions. And even if we were, it wouldn't be a charter challenge. And the Supreme Court basically signed her death warrant and said, we're not taking this up to the Supreme Court. She then went and sued for medical malpractice, and she died before she could have her settlement implemented, because apparently she resolved this amicably. They had a settlement. And then she died. She died because the state made the province, the country made the active decision to deny her needed medical care. Some people call that dying, and I will call that a state-sanctioned murder. They killed Sheila Annette Lewis, and they killed her because she defied their government orders. That's my opinion. Some people might call it hyperbolic. Some people might call it inflammatory. Good for you. Call it that. You're an idiot. That's how I call it. But then you get members of the Canadian government. Listen to this. Hold on. Let me get it. Which one do I start with? Let's start with this one. Here, we have to go in order. Don't read this one. Let me get to the here. This is the second post from one Charlie Angus. Who's Charlie Angus? NDP? Artist, writer, politician, singer with Grievous Angels, author, député musicien et auteur, political and cultural thoughts. Yeah, well, your political and cultural thoughts, Angus, are criminal in nature. Charlie Angus, this is the second tweet. Disinformation and conspiracy cost lives. It is appalling the Pierre Poilievre continues to fan the flame of anti-vax conspiracy. The fact that he is cheering on a candidate who was kicked out of Doug Ford's caucus is telling. He is promoting a party of extremism. Now, hold on a second. He deleted the original post. Charlie Angus, member of the NDP. Hold on a second. Stop screen. Let me get the original one. The original one was so it's ghoulish. Like I've never used that word until recently. You'll have to forgive my impatience with him. Here. Ghoulish. This was his original tweet. A woman died because she preferred to fight for disinformation, anti-vax bullshit, and conspiracy. This is what Charlie Angus tweets after a woman died or was killed because the government said, you refuse to submit to this experimental new technology jab? Well, we're going to let you die. We're going to deny you healthcare that you've paid into a system for because it's universal healthcare. Oh, I'll get into the bullshit analogies in a bit. They let her die. Letting someone die by denying them what they need has another word for it. But this is what he tweeted. A woman died because she preferred to fight for disinformation, anti-vax bullshit, and conspiracy. Pierre Poilievre says she is a hero and supports a candidate so bogus that Doug Ford kicked him out. Awesome, Angus. Now do girls with short skirts or who are walking, going to bars. Talk about blaming the victim. She preferred to fight for disinformation. She got what she deserved, is what he's basically saying right here. And then when he gets called out on that, what did he say here? This is the level of absolute degeneracy of Canadian politics. NDP, by the way, is the New Democrat Party. They should call them the NFP, the New Fascist Party. Hey, look at this. Jordan Peterson tweets to him and says, You didn't call out Pierre Poilievre. You said a Canadian citizen deserved to die for her political views. And she did die for her political views in Canada. That's Jordan Peterson, to which Charlie Angus, and I have so many jokes that I want to make about his name, but it would not be polite or right. It would be juvenile and non-substantive. No wonder the CPC Ontario was forced to do an intervention with Jordan Peterson. The communists love communism. The fascists love fascism. This arrogant prick loves the system that killed a woman and that is now going after a man's license because they don't like the thing. He loves the abuse of power. No wonder the CP Ontario. Whatever, I don't know what it is. I could just go like this. College of Psychologists, sorry. No wonder the CP Ontario was forced to compel Jordan Peterson to do a re-education camp. Not only is he making shit up about what I said, but he is coming to the defense of a guy who said he would fornicate with my coach. Seriously, how does the college let this guy near patients? Hey, college, you have a politician telling you to sanction another citizen, remove their license for wrongthink. And Charlie Angus is purporting to be the victim in all of this? A ghoul. A ghoul is what he is. I'm getting a little angry. I think I can hear my wife hearing me scream. And then he says that Jordan Peterson's making shit up. The internet is forever, Charlie. And so long as you have your not defenders of the internet, neurotic OCD types like me, but people like me who have a decent crowd as well, who gather the information and make it forever, you won't get away with your flippin' lies. Oh, that sounded so Canadian, eh? Hey, Charlie Angus, you won't get away with your flippin' lies, eh? You really are the scum of the earth, Charlie Angus, NDP. The internet is forever. What you said is on the left. A woman died because she preferred to fight for disinformation, anti-vax bullshit, and conspiracy. That's what he said. Then he deleted it and put out this one. Disinformation and conspiracy cost lives. Oh, why did I have to delete it and say that a woman died because of defending anti-vax bullshit? Why did I delete that and retweet it like this in response to the same tweet? Why? Because I'm a filthy scum of the earth ghoul of a liar. And then I'm going to say that Jordan Peterson is making up lies. And then I'm going to go ring the bell of the CP of Ontario to go after Jordan Peterson's license even more than they're already going. Scum, ghoul, fascist, communists. Okay, that's what I think of that. Whew. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how is the how is the theater? Oh, it's No, it really is depressing. Like, you try to operate on the basis that half of the shit you see on Twitter, half of the people saying, oh, bot accounts, they have to be bot accounts. Like, nobody can sit there and actually sincerely defend Justin Trudeau. Nobody can seriously sit there and defend this jackass. The problem is whether or not half of the people on Twitter are bots, paid for accounts and whatever. You got a politician coming out and saying, she got what she deserved. Fuck around, find out. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. Hey, next time, shut up, do what the government says, or we will let you die. That's it. Oh, and also, nobody tells a woman what to do with her body. I'm pro-choice government. Scum of the earth. And there's no other way to say it. Now, all that to say as well, don't give them what they want in terms of inappropriate responses, backlash, public mockery. Never let them forget. They must have the political blowback at the ballot box, at the offices, for their legacies. But segueing into the Gretchen Whitmer, don't do anything stupid. Anybody gets online telling you to do something stupid, assume they're a Fed, because they probably are. They want nothing more in the world right now than to try to sucker in a bunch of other Gretchen Whitmer conspirators. They want nothing more right now than to sucker in lone wolves, unhinged individuals, January 6ers. They want nothing more than to get that, provoke that of a response so they can justify doing even more. So anyone gets online and says, do something stupid, they're a Fed. Operate on that basis. Govern yourself accordingly. Don't do stupid things. Mock them, shame them. Never let them forget that they will go down in history as the ghouls and the monsters that they were. All right, good. Now, on that note, let's get into the Gretchen Whitmer trial on Rumble. We're going to end this now on YouTube. Link. We are loading up on water, by the way. We're going to be south and southeast of the hurricane that is going to make landfall north to the west. But we'll get some Rumble. We'll get some water. Make sure that we're good. Link to Rumble. Boom shakalaka right there. 787 people on YouTube. Mosey on over to Rumble. Come. It's going to be good. We're going to talk about Fed posting. And when people come and say, hey, do something stupid, there's a reason why people are telling you to do something stupid instead of doing it themselves. Because they're trying to get you into trouble. They're trying to weaponize you, and they're trying to exploit you for political purposes. So let's do that. Hold on. I just heard a beep on my phone. Let's just see if that's nothing. Okay, good. Let's go. Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Okay, there we go. Ending on YouTube in 5, 4, 3,